This is KTLA 5 News, with a special report coming out of the Los Angeles area. Several small earthquakes have been reported in the Los Angeles metropolitan area. Most of these quakes have been relatively small, ranging in magnitude from 2.1 to 3.8 on the Richter scale. The largest quake was a magnitude 3.8, which was centered approximately 10 miles east of Palmdale, California. Only slight damage has been reported near the epicenter of the earthquake, with only a few injuries being reported. However, officials at the United States Geological Survey are warning that these small earthquakes could cause a massive, potentially destructive earthquake to occur. This is due to increasing seismic activity in the San Andreas fault line. They are predicting that this big earthquake could strike within a week. No current action is needed at this time. However, the USGS is recommending people to review what to do when a large earthquake strikes. In other news, Governor Gavin Newsom is reportedly thinking about shutting down California once again due to a spike in coronavirus cases throughout the state, especially in the Los Angeles area. People should still wear masks in public, wash hands, practice social distancing, and avoiding large crowds to prevent the spread of this virus. This is KTLA 5 News, with a special report. Back to your regularly scheduled programming.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States Geological Survey. As of 3 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, several small earthquakes have been reported in the Los Angeles metropolitan area. The largest earthquake was registered as a 3.8 on the Richter scale, and the epicenter for the quake was approximately 10 miles east of Palmdale, California. Officials at the United States Geological Survey believe that these small earthquakes will cause a large, potentially destructive earthquake to occur in the Los Angeles area. This is due to increasing seismic activity on the San Andreas fault line. If an earthquake of high magnitude strikes, it will cause massive destruction near the epicenter of the earthquake, along with several casualties. The USGS is predicting that this large earthquake could strike in about a week. All residents receiving this message are advised to remain vigilant at this time, and go over your emergency procedures with your family in the event an earthquake strikes. Turn off all gas inside your home to prevent fires, as fires are the most common hazard after an earthquake. If an earthquake strikes while you are inside, remember to drop, cover, and hold on. Stay inside until the shaking stops. If you hear a hissing noise or smell gas, evacuate the building immediately, but be aware of debris nearby. If you are outside, find a clear spot and drop to the ground, and be sure to find a place with no buildings, trees, or power lines nearby. If in a vehicle, wait until the shaking stops. If a power line falls onto your vehicle, do not exit your vehicle, but call for assistance instead. After the earthquake, stay away from your home or business until authorities have declared that it is safe to return. If you spot a fire, put it out immediately. Tune into local media outlets for more information on this developing situation. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States Geological Survey. At approximately 6:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, the United States Geological Survey has detected a massive earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 8.9 on the Richter scale that has struck the Los Angeles metropolitan area. The epicenter of this earthquake was located in Pasadena, California. Catastrophic damage has been reported in the epicenter of the quake, along with the rest of the Los Angeles metropolitan area, with several injuries and fatalities already being reported. This earthquake has been felt as far east as Las Vegas, as far north as Eureka, and as far south as Ensenada in Mexico. In addition, several fires have been reported in multiple cities throughout the region, causing additional destruction. All residents receiving this message are advised to do the following actions. Stay calm. Panicking will only make the situation worse. Turn off all gas to prevent more fires. If you spot a fire, put it out immediately, so it doesn't spread. If you hear a hissing noise or smell gas, evacuate the area immediately. Stay away from damaged buildings. If there is a safe haven, go to an open space away from damaged buildings, trees, and power lines, and take whatever supplies you can. Aftershocks from this earthquake are expected to occur within the next hour or two. Prepare for aftershocks. Do not use the telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use only. The earthquake may have damaged or destroyed the phone lines, and the 911 telephone system may be down, resulting in people not getting emergency assistance. Please stay tuned to the station for more information on this dangerous situation.
This is an NBC News special report. Good morning. I am your host, James Matthews. We are receiving breaking news coming out of Los Angeles. About 10 minutes ago, a massive earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 8.9 on the Richter scale has struck the Los Angeles metropolitan area, with an epicenter in Pasadena, California. Already, catastrophic damage has been reported, along with several injuries and fatalities. In addition, several fires have broken out in the region, causing additional destruction and casualties. The United States Geological Survey has said that there is increasing seismic activity in the San Andreas fault line, and more aftershocks are expected within the next few hours. This was the largest earthquake ever recorded in the state of California, surpassing a 7.9 magnitude earthquake that struck Fort Tejon on January 9, 1857. We have a reporter in Los Angeles right now. How is the destruction there?
Right here in Los Angeles, the downtown area has suffered massive damage, even though this earthquake's epicenter was located 11 miles away in Pasadena. Several buildings have suffered extensive damage and several casualties have already been reported. Governor Gavin Newsom is currently sending the National Guard to the area to assist with cleaning up the destruction. I am receiving word that the damage in areas near Pasadena is much worse, as most of the city has been completely destroyed. The Rose Bowl Stadium has also suffered massive damage, and it is likely that the stadium has collapsed entirely. This could be the worst earthquake that has struck the state of California since the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake and the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. The United States Geological Survey is expecting many aftershocks to strike within the next few hours. In addition, several fires have been reported throughout the Los Angeles metropolitan area, including Anaheim, Long Beach, Riverside, and several other cities, causing additional destruction and casualties. Most of these fires have been caused by ruptured gas lines. Firefighters have been called in throughout the region in an attempt to extinguish the fires. In addition, Mayor Eric Garcetti is placing a voluntary evacuation order for most of the Los Angeles area, as some of these fires are out of control, combined with the recent hot and humid conditions throughout most of California. The reason this is voluntary is due to some people that are not able to leave buildings that have been destroyed. The United States Geological Survey is also not ruling out a tsunami threat for the coast of California, as this earthquake was also felt in the Pacific Ocean. Back over to you, James.
Wow. I can't believe what you just said. This situation is really bad, folks. This earthquake might be the epitome of the year 2020, as this year has been an absolute disaster, with the coronavirus pandemic, fears of murder hornets and the riots. I guess we are cursed. What more is 2020 going to throw us? Zombies? Aliens? The end of the world? Who even knows? This is NBC News, with a special report. We will now return to your regularly scheduled programming.
Civil danger warning. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States Geological Survey. As of 7:40 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, several massive aftershocks have been reported in many cities across the state of California. These cities include San Francisco, San Jose, Fresno, San Diego, Sacramento, and Bakersfield. The USGS has confirmed the magnitudes of these aftershocks to be 8.7, 8.1, 7.5, 7.9, 7.6, and 7.1 respectively. Massive damage has been reported in these cities, along with multiple casualties already being reported. In addition, several fires have been reported in these cities due to ruptured gas lines, causing more destruction and casualties in these areas. The United States Geological Survey has also stated that there is a considerable tsunami threat for the California coastline. Due to this, Governor Gavin Newsom has instituted a voluntary evacuation order for these cities, also due to some of the fires being out of control. If you want to evacuate, you can do so at this time. Take essential supplies for your journey, such as food, water, clothing, medical supplies, a first aid kit, a fully charged cell phone chargers, toiletries, a flashlight, and a battery-powered, or hand-cranked radio. Tie a white-colored towel to your door or mailbox to show the authorities that you have safely left the area. When you leave your residence, be aware of debris and fires nearby. Be sure that this is a voluntary order, and this is not recommended. Only evacuate if you think it's the right decision. However, this may become a mandatory order if a tsunami strikes the coastline. Please tune into local media outlets for more information on this dangerous situation. The National Weather Service, along with the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, have issued a tsunami watch for the entire California coastline. This is a potential mass casualty situation. This is the result of several earthquakes that have struck many major cities in the state of California. While a tsunami hasn't been generated, it is likely that a mega tsunami will strike the California coastline within the next few hours. Due to this, all residents receiving this message are under a voluntary evacuation order at this time. If you want to evacuate, do so now. This is not a mandatory order. You can evacuate if you think it is the right decision. Contraflow has been put into effect on all roadways in the watch area to make evacuation more efficient. No westbound traffic is allowed at this time. If you do evacuate, you are to do the following instructions. Grab all of the people in your home. Take important supplies such as non-perishable food, water, clothing, medical supplies, a flashlight, a first aid kit, a fully charged cell phone chargers, toiletries, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio with extra batteries. Do not pick up relatives from hospitals or nursing homes, as these procedures have their own procedures and will follow them accordingly. Put a white towel or other bright-colored cloth on your door or mailbox to show authorities you have safely evacuated the area. Repeating, a mega tsunami is likely to strike the California coastline within the next few hours. If you want to evacuate, do so now. Stay tuned to local media outlets for more information on this developing situation. The National Weather Service, along with the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, have issued a tsunami warning for the entire California coastline. This includes the following counties: Alameda, Contra Costa, Del Norte, Humboldt, Los Angeles, Marin, Mendocino, Monterey, Napa, Orange, San Benito, San Diego, San Francisco, San Luis Obispo, San Mateo, Santa Barbara, Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, Solano, Sonoma, and Ventura. This is a mass casualty situation. At approximately 9:15 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center has confirmed a devastating mega tsunami approximately 200 miles out into the Pacific Ocean that is capable of causing catastrophic damage to the coast and will impact the coast within the next 1 to 2 hours. This tsunami is believed to be around 200 feet in height and is moving at 75 miles per hour. This tsunami is believed to be generated by several massive earthquakes that struck many major cities in the state of California, including Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Jose, Fresno, San Diego, and Sacramento. Everything within a 20-mile radius of the coast will be flooded, and areas near the coast will be completely annihilated. Tsunamis are large waves that are not surfable. Anyone living in these counties is in extreme danger, no matter what direction the coast is facing. Everyone in the warned area is strongly advised to evacuate immediately. Make sure you are more than 20 miles away from the coastline when you evacuate. Contraflow has been enacted on all roadways in the warning area to make evacuation more convenient and efficient. Travel on marked evacuation routes set up by your local authorities. Do not travel towards the coast, as you will face certain death by the tsunami. Take important supplies with you, such as food, water, clothing, medical supplies, a flashlight, a fully charged cell phone, toiletries, phone chargers, a first aid kit, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio to last you for the duration of this emergency. Try to take one car per family if possible. Do not pick up relatives from hospitals or nursing homes, as these facilities have their own evacuation procedures and will follow them accordingly. Shelters have been set up in the following cities: Las Vegas, Phoenix, Salt Lake City, Flagstaff, Tucson, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Eugene, and Tacoma. These areas are considered safe havens. Evacuate now. I repeat, evacuate now. If you do not evacuate, you will face certain death. This is a mass casualty situation. Do not panic. I repeat, do not panic. Panicking will only make the situation worse than it already is. Tune into local media outlets for more information on this dangerous situation.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. A massive tsunami with a height of 205 feet has struck the California coastline. Catastrophic damage has been reported in coastal locations such as San Diego, Long Beach, San Jose, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and many others, while cities up to 20 miles inland have suffered considerable damage and massive flooding. Hundreds of injuries, fatalities, homeless, and people missing have been reported. All residents that have evacuated may not return to their homes, as there is literally no home to return to, and crews have to complete surveys on the damage caused and clean up the debris. In addition, there are rumors going around that the Diablo Canyon and the San Onofre nuclear power plants have been destroyed by the tsunami, and the Rancho Seco nuclear generating station has been damaged by the Sacramento earthquake, but this has not been confirmed at this time. Stay tuned to the station for more information on this dangerous situation.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Stephen Newman reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York. A massive tsunami with a height of 205 feet has struck the California coastline. Catastrophic damage has been reported in many coastal locations, such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, Long Beach, San Diego, San Jose, and many others. This tsunami has been caused by several massive earthquakes that have struck many major cities in the state of California. Cities up to 20 miles inland have suffered massive flooding and considerable damage. Already, hundreds of injuries, fatalities, homeless, and people missing have already been reported. What is startling about this that only about 65% of the population evacuated before the tsunami impacted, this causing more deaths and people missing. Live in Los Angeles in a CBS News chopper's Kate Jones. Kate, how is the current condition of LA?
Stephen, the condition of Los Angeles is pretty bad to say the least. The city suffered extensive damage from the massive earthquake in Pasadena, and the tsunami made it much worse. Most of the city has been completely destroyed. However, it is in somewhat better shape than cities like San Francisco, San Diego, and Long Beach, which have suffered apocalyptic destruction due to those cities being closer to the coastline. Like Stephen said, only 65% of the population evacuated before the tsunami impacted. That is really worrisome that some people decided to risk their lives to stay in areas impacted by the tsunami. This is why we have so many deaths, injuries, and people missing. What is concerning that there are rumors going around that 3 nuclear power plants in California have been damaged or destroyed, the Diablo Canyon and the San Onofre nuclear power plants due to the tsunami, as well as the Rancho Seco nuclear generating station due to the earthquake in Sacramento. This might be the second coming of the 2011 disaster in Japan with a massive earthquake striking Tokyo, a tsunami impacting the coast, and the Fukushima nuclear power plant melting down. But this could be much, much worse, as we have potentially 3 nuclear power plants damaged or destroyed. If all 3 of them melt down or explode, there is going to be a lot of nuclear fallout, and it will probably spread throughout the entire western United States, as well as some parts of Mexico. Back over to you, Stephen.
Thank you, Kate. In other news, Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency for areas that have been impacted by the earthquakes and tsunami, and will remain in effect until further notice. He is also expected to speak to the state at some point today. This is CBS News with a special report. We'll now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. A radiological advisory has been issued for all residents within a 10-mile radius of the following nuclear power plants: the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant located in Avila Beach, the San Onofre Nuclear Power Plant located in Pendleton, and the Rancho Seco Nuclear Generating Station located in Harold due to partial meltdowns of one of the reactors in each of these plants. It has been confirmed that the Diablo Canyon and San Onofre nuclear power plants have been destroyed by the tsunami, and the Rancho Seco nuclear generating station has suffered massive damage from the earthquake in Sacramento. Due to the possible release of radioactive materials in the air, the following precautionary measures will be in effect for the safety of the public. A voluntary evacuation order has been issued for the 10-mile emergency planning zone, even though it being expanded is possible. Should an evacuation order be issued, evacuate to a safer location immediately if you hear an explosion from one of these plants. If an explosion occurs, put on an approved gas mask, mainly N95 or CBRN. Make sure you have an adequate set of supplies such as non-perishable food, water, clothing, medical supplies, a flashlight, a first aid kit, a fully charged cell phone chargers, toiletries, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio with extra batteries to last you and your family for at least 14 days. Continue to monitor local media outlets for further information on this potentially dangerous situation.
Changes.
Nuclear power plant warning. Repeat, nuclear power plant warning. This is not a drill. The following message is transmitted at the request of the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. A nuclear power plant warning has been issued for all residents within a 50-mile radius of ones whose wet of the following nuclear power plants: the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant in Avila Beach, the San Onofre Nuclear Power Plant in Pendleton, and the Rancho Seco Nuclear Generating Station in Harold. A catastrophic event has occurred at all three of these plants, which is posing a life-threatening situation to residents in the 50-mile emergency zone, thus prompting a general emergency. The following events have occurred in these plants due to the earthquakes and tsunami, all in a chain reaction. All reactors have been completely destroyed, power grids inside these plants being not completely offline, structural damage causing rooms inside these plants to collapse, and a large release of radioactive materials into the atmosphere as a result. Take the following precautions immediately for your safety. A mandatory evacuation order is in effect for the 50-mile emergency zone. Failure to evacuate will result in almost certain death, as the areas surrounding these plants will likely be uninhabitable due to large quantities of radioactive materials released into the air. When evacuating, make sure you tie a white-colored towel or cloth to your door or mailbox to show the authorities that you have safely evacuated the area. Do not use the towel if you need assistance. Should you require assistance, emergency management and law enforcement officials will escort you to the nearest pickup point. Make sure you have essential supplies, such as non-perishable food, water, clothing, medical supplies, a flashlight, a first aid kit, a fully charged cell phone chargers, toiletries, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio with extra batteries to last you and your family for at least 14 days. To prevent exposure from radioactive materials, put on a gas mask, especially N95 or CBRN. Make sure you turn off all heating and air conditioning systems, close all windows and doors, shut off all gas, and seal up any cracks on doors and windows with tape or damp towels before you leave your house. Do not pick up relatives from hospitals or nursing homes. These facilities have their own emergency procedures and will act on them accordingly. Try to take only one car per family, if possible. If you hear an air raid siren in your area, that means you are in the warned area, and you need to evacuate for your safety. Most importantly, stay calm, and do not panic. Panicking will only make the situation worse, and will put more lives at risk. Repeating, a nuclear power plant warning has been issued for residents within a 50-mile radius of the following nuclear power plants: the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant in Avila Beach, the San Onofre Nuclear Power Plant in Pendleton, and the Rancho Seco Nuclear Generating Station in Harold, due to a catastrophic event occurring at these plants, caused by earthquakes and a tsunami. If you haven't evacuated yet, do so now. Evacuate now. I repeat, evacuate now. Civil danger for the entire state of California. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Governor of the state of California. A civil danger warning exists for the entire state of California. 3 large, uncontrollable fires have been reported at the following nuclear power plants: the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant in Avila Beach, the San Onofre Nuclear Power Plant in Pendleton, and the Rancho Seco Nuclear Generating Station in Harold. It is likely that radioactive materials are in this fire, and may be ejected into the atmosphere. Should this occur, the evacuation radius will be expanded to the entire state. Firefighters in hazmat suits have arrived on the scene, and are trying to extinguish these blazes. If you choose not to evacuate, seek a fallout shelter immediately, as fallout can spread over a large area very quickly. Fallout is a byproduct of nuclear explosions. Prolonged exposure to fallout will result in radiation sickness and death. Once explosions occur, it will only take a minute for the effects of fallout to spread. Make sure you have an adequate set of supplies for your shelter, such as non-perishable food, water, clothing, medical supplies, a flashlight, a first aid kit, a fully charged cell phone chargers, toiletries, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio with extra batteries to last you and your family for at least 14 days. Please stay tuned to local media outlets for more information on this dangerous situation. This is an emergency action notification, requested by the White House. All EAS participants will follow activation procedures in the EAS Operating Handbook for a national-level emergency. The President of the United States, or one of his representatives, will shortly deliver a message over the emergency alert system. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by. We interrupt our regular programming. This is a national emergency. Important details will follow. This is an emergency action notification. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is WPXI. We will continue to serve the Pittsburgh area. If you are not in this local area, tune now into stations providing news and information for your area. You are listening to the emergency alert system serving the Pittsburgh area. Do not use the telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated. We interrupt our regular programming at the request of the White House. This is the emergency alert system. All normal programming has been discontinued during this emergency. This is WPXI. We will continue furnishing news, official information and instructions for the Pittsburgh area. If you are not in the Pittsburgh area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your area. It is important that you listen carefully to announcements from this station in your local area. Stand by. The President of the United States, or his designated representative, will be speaking shortly.
The following message has been given authorization for release at the request of myself, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and the United States government, effective as of 7:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. I regret to inform the citizens of the United States that a catastrophic series of events have taken place in the state of California. Several massive earthquakes have been reported in many major cities in the state of California.
including Los Angeles, San Francisco, San Jose, Sacramento, Fresno, San Diego, and Bakersfield, causing massive damage, injuries, and fatalities in these cities. Then, a massive tsunami with a height of 205 feet struck the California coastline, causing even more destruction and casualties in these areas. Finally, 3 nuclear power plants in California have been affected by this disaster. These include the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant in Avila Beach, the San Onofre Nuclear Power Plant in Pendleton, and the Rancho Seco Nuclear Generating Station in Herald. Unfortunately, at approximately 4:15 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, it is with a heavy heart that I say this, that all 3 of these nuclear power plants have, in fact, exploded simultaneously due to them being destroyed by the earthquakes and the tsunami. These explosions were so powerful, that 3 massive, separate mushroom clouds have been seen as far east as Salt Lake City, Utah, as far north as Portland, Oregon, and as far south as northern Mexico. Radioactive fallout from this explosion is spreading rapidly in all 4 directions, and is expected to impact the following states: California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. Due to this, I am strongly advising all residents of these states to seek a fallout shelter now, as fallout can spread over a large area very quickly. Fallout is a byproduct of nuclear explosions. Prolonged exposure to fallout will result in radiation sickness and death. When an explosion occurs, it will only take a minute for the effects of fallout to spread. Make sure you have an adequate set of supplies for your shelter, such as non-perishable food, water, clothing, medical supplies, a flashlight, a first aid kit, a fully charged cell phone, phone chargers, toiletries, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio with extra batteries to last you for at least 14 days. If you cannot find a fallout shelter, the National Guard will lead you to one, or you can go into an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building away from windows, doors, and outside walls. This feels very similar to the March 11, 2011 disaster in Japan, but several times worse. Radioactive particles could be in these states for a long time, especially California. Do not leave your shelter, as you could be killed due to exposing yourself to radioactive fallout. Most importantly, stay calm, and do not panic. Panicking will make the situation worse than it already is. Even though this nation is experiencing an unprecedented crisis, we will rise up from the ashes as one nation, under God. We will rebuild the areas that have been lost due to this situation. If we come together as American citizens, the country will be back to normal once again. Always have hope during these dark times. Thank you for listening to this message, and God bless America.
That was a message from a representative of the President. We now return to the emergency alert system. This concludes activations of the emergency alert system. Normal programming may now resume. This is an emergency action termination. The nuclear fallout from the explosions at the Diablo Canyon Nuclear Power Plant, the San Onofre Nuclear Power Plant, and the Rancho Seco Nuclear Generating Station has cleared out of the area, and all residents are free to exit their shelters at this time. However, there is massive damage to areas that were covered with nuclear fallout. The National Guard is unavailable to rescue people from destroyed shelters. If your shelter was destroyed, call 911 and the National Guard, if possible, will send you to the nearest military base. All broadcast and cable systems are allowed to resume regular programming. Emergency broadcasts will now be handed over to state and local officials. This concludes all operations under the emergency alert system. Regular programming will now resume. Your government thanks you for your cooperation during this emergency.